Hello everyone. First things first, before we get into this book review, I want to say thank you to all my new subscribers. I was totally not expecting all this love that I have received so far, and some of you guys have been asking for new content because it's been 2 weeks since I've uploaded my first video. I don't really know what's going to be my consistent schedule yet, but I'm still going to be working on that, and I will let you guys know once I find out. So let's get into this book review. Okay, so as you can see by the title, the book that I'm going to be reviewing is I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erika Sanchez. And I would say this book, I would give it a 10 out of 10. This book is a New York Times bestseller, and it is also a National Book Award finalist. So Erika Sanchez, or Erika Sanchez, whatever you prefer, she is also a poet. This is the only book that I've purchased from her so far, but I definitely want to get into more of her books because she is an amazing author. Just the words that she puts in there, just you feel like amazed by it, and you're like, whoa. You explain things spot on, and it's just like, girl, you're really good. You're really good at this. Okay, so if you've ever thought about purchasing this book, I would say do it. Definitely do it. You will not regret it. Honestly, you don't have to be Mexican or Latina to read this book. You could be a different type of ethnicity, you know, you could be a guy, whatever. If you like books, I would say this is definitely a book that is very interesting. But especially if you are Latina or Mexican, Chicana, you know, I feel like this book represents us so well. I'm not going to say everybody because everybody has their own different lifestyles, everyone's different backgrounds and whatnot, but this book is really good. Let's get into the story. I've been blabbing too much about it. So basically, there is a Mexican household. There's a mother, a father, and 2 daughters. The main character, her name is Julia, and she precisely wants her name to be pronounced that way, so let's have respect, shall we? And her sister, Olga, ends up dying because she gets hit by a bus. The moment you open the first page, you're gonna find out, like, you gotta know this part, okay? So I'm not doing spoilers, but that part it changes Julia's world, okay? She doesn't have the greatest relationship with her parents, with her family, because she is seen as rebellious towards her family. She's not seen as the perfect traditional Mexican daughter, as you can tell by the book, whereas her sister Olga, the one that got hit by the bus and ended up passing away, she was seen as the perfect Mexican daughter. You know, she was always cooking for the family, always cleaning. She was very obedient with her family. She very family oriented with them. She went to a community college, and after, you know, school, I guess she would go to work, and then she would just stay home with her parents. You know, they all lived together. Whereas Olga, she was she's in high school, and her dreams are that she wants to get into a university, but away from her family. Not that she wants to exactly be away from her family, but she just kind of wants to, she's into the traveling, and she's into art, and she's into writing, and she's into like very different things compared to her sister Olga. And her family doesn't really understand why Julia wants to do that. She's like, why can't you be like your sister? They're always comparing her, saying, why can't you be like your sister? She's perfect, you know. Whereas Julia, like I said, is seen as rebellious, and she's like an outcast at school. You know, she has a couple close friends. I forgot their names. Oh my god. Not cool of me. Let's see what their names are. I can't believe I forgot. Wow, so unprofessional of me. Okay, I can't remember at the moment. But she has 2 close friends. You know, even though she doesn't feel like she could connect to them that well, but they're still there for each other as friends. And, you know, she always could run to them whenever she needs that type of support or to get her mind off of things. So basically, what ends up happening once her sister dies is that her mom puts a lot of blame and shame, and she has a bad sort of grieving process, and she puts a lot of her pressure towards her daughter Julia, because I don't want to really say why, but once you read the book, you'll understand. You'll find out the bits and pieces that will connect to the big story. And her dad is actually very machismo type of vibe, you know, like, which is realistic in a lot of Mexican households. He doesn't show any emotions. He's very quiet. He's very to the side. He doesn't talk about it. He ends up being more quiet than he normally is. Him and Julia don't really have too much of a great talking relationship bond. Is just kind of very silent. And she feels that her father is also angry at her, that, you know, she's to blame for her sister's death. It's very sad, it's very tragic, and Julia feels all the emotions that you could think of, but although she's not really showing them, she's not really letting out all of her emotions, her mom, you know, comes at her like, how could you be so heartless, you know? But it's kind of contradicting, because it's like, oh, my dad, he could, you know, not show emotions, and he's not labeled as heartless, but me, if I'm not crying and like being super emotional, that I'm the heartless one. But it's like very contradicting right there, and very, you could see the machismo within that. So the next step is things get bad and fast, okay? Eventually Julia goes into her sister's room because she misses her. She wants to look at her things. Honestly, her and her sister did not have much of a great relationship together. Like, they weren't that close. She kind of feels like, oh, this is messed up, you know, before I didn't really care, but now that she's gone, now I'm interested in my sister all of a sudden, and that might seem a little messed up. She goes into her room, she kind of looks through her things and finds something that leads her to get very curious very fast, and she ends up doing a lot of things that she shouldn't be doing. She's really trying to figure things out about her sister. She gets into a whole process of trying to figure her out about what was this one thing that she was doing, because it is pretty mysterious. And then she ends up thinking, wow, you know, my sister wasn't this perfect angel that my family portrays her to be. I didn't even know that either. And, you know, it's very shocking. But before that continues, and before she gets to that point, Julia ends up having, you know, due to her sister's death and the way her family's been treating her, she goes through a lot of things mentally, where she ends up needing mental help. She ends up needing mental support. She has to go to therapy, counseling. She has to go to like group sessions, and her mom does some things that are really messed up to her. So, you know, she ends up looking through her journals, and that really upsets Julia, which I could totally understand why. And she ends up doing some things that leads to her end up having to go to the hospital. Julia does that because she's very upset about just everything, the way life has been treating her. And then eventually, later on, her mom ends up sending her to Mexico for a while, just like 2 weeks or so, saying, you know, you need to things will get off your mind, you know, things will be easier for you mentally over there. So go spend some time with her family in Mexico, which she ends up doing, and she ends up really enjoying her time there. So then eventually she ends up having to go back to Chicago, because that's where the setting is at, in Chicago. And oh, I forgot to mention there's a boy involved. Duh, like, who forgets about the boy? I do. I forgot about the boy. Dang, my hair is not looking great today. Like, you know what? Okay, whatever. So there's a boy involved. I don't know if it exactly ends up working out towards the end. You could be the judge of that. I guess it depends on your way of thinking. But it does get pretty, like, wow, that's sad between their relationship. Definitely towards the end, you know, her and her family, they try to work things out a little bit more. Life changes for her, and I would say in a good way, but she's scared. She's scared, like, wow, this is totally different from my life. This is totally new. Just, it's crazy. It's really crazy. I feel like I'm leaving some stuff out. But this is the stuff that's like coming to the top of my head right now. I'm sorry about that. I was gonna write some like notes, but I felt like that was going to take too long, and I've been taking way too long to make this video. I've been wanting to do it for weeks already, and I've tried, but things weren't working out, so I had to like retake this video. I redid this video like twice already. This is my third time. So I was like, forget the notes, let me just do it from the top of my head. Let's just do this thing. So, but overall, I would say this book is a 10 out of 10. I couldn't put it down. This is a really great book. It's super relatable towards culture, towards the household. Whether you're, you know, Olga or Julia, you're gonna find a character that you could relate to, you know, or you might fall in between, because I definitely felt like I related to both of the characters at some point. I felt like, oh, I totally relate to Julia on this, or oh, I totally relate to Olga on this, and then I found myself falling in between. But then there were some parts where I was just like, whoa, you girls are wild. I would never do that. They're kind of wild. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, this is definitely a great book. I would highly recommend it. I don't know how many times I've said that, but that just shows that I highly recommend this book. It has, how many pages does this have? I think about 300 and something, almost 400 pages. It's this thick. I have the hardcover. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you to all my subscribers once again. If you like this video, let me know if you would like to see more book reviews. I definitely do have other books that I would like to review and talk about. But this is obviously the first one I really wanted to talk about because I really loved it out of all the books I've read so far. And this is the last one I've read. I finished it like last month. So yeah, if you guys like this video, let me know. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I want to do for my YouTube channel. Like, I definitely do want to do book reviews because I'm really into like reading and, you know, definitely sharing, and I like watching book reviews. So, and I definitely want to make like vlogs and just, I don't know, like, I don't know yet, but I've been wanting to have a YouTube channel for the longest time, since like maybe 3 years already, and I've barely started. If not 3 years, 4 years, but I've been wanting one for the longest time, and I finally did it. And I hope you guys have a good day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and hit the notification button. And yeah, that would be it for today. And thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.